Hey everyone, and welcome to the Cloud Channel Connection webinar series, Connecting Channel Partners with Cloud Service Providers. My name is Will Flash, and I'll be your host. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you a few of the ways that you can engage our team during the show. While many of you may be familiar with the Channel Connections webinar, we're doing things a little different. This is called live show, and what makes a difference is the use of video. So you should see both video as well as the slide presentation. And so you can make sure you're doing that by just clicking on voice and video, and you can see us here in Redmond. Now, we also encourage interactivity. You get that I'm sure. But with this one, if you have a question, please note the Q&A manager in the upper left. You can just click on that, type in your question into the Q&A window, and note that you can also kind of snap that to the side of the interface there if you want to keep answering or asking those questions. So humor me now, if you would, and just be aware of that. All right, great. Now, one final bit is that we like some polling. You'll see some polling throughout. It helps us both as the presenters of the content just to know who our audience is, and then we also get some takeaways at the end. So if you'd like, also try something else. We're going to turn on the annotation tools and just click on the area where you're joining us from. Given the time of day, I've got to believe that many of you are joining us from around the U.S., but we often get some diehard fans of UC joining us from around the globe. The sun never really sets on us, so it's great. Just note that we do also have a couple other things. One is that we'll have a handout section, which you can download. We'll also make this recording available. We're going to shoot for like later today, but just stay with us if it's not posted by 5 p.m. You'll see that on-demand link located, I would say, within the next 24 hours for sure. All right, great. So you see where you can download. Now, a couple other things before we get started. We're going to go to the webinar. That's fine. Now, it's not enough that we knock over the camera while doing this. It's not enough that you should join us today, but you are eligible to win a giveaway. So that includes one Nike Messenger bag and a Bing fleece jacket with a golf travel kit and towel. This will be given to one winner who attends today's webinar, and the drawing is going to be announced just before we close. So the giveaway will be mailed directly. There's no purchase necessary. Now, the lawyers ask that I remind you that if you're attending today's webinar as a representative of your employer, it's your sole responsibility to review and understand their policies regarding your eligibility to accept gifts or prizes. And by participating, you agree to accepting a prize would not violate company policies, including government and public sector gift rules. And Microsoft, of course, not liable for any disputes arising between you and your employer related to participation in this promotion. Now, the giveaway is sponsored by Microsoft, and of course, we're here at 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052. All right, so for many of you, you've been here before. Let's just take a quick look at what type of partner you are joining us. A range of audience can benefit from this series, and we're just taking a look now at the poll. If you would just click on it, there's no wrong answer. There could be other. If you did click on other, just type into the Q&A manager what type of other you might be. And no surprise, we're seeing a few MSPs as the primary, but also some VARs. Those are managed service provider and value-added reseller. We live by acronyms here. All right, very good. So while you're doing that, let me just lay it out for you in the sense that your job role is also big, so let us know there. Are you in sales, maybe a business decision maker? I guess we're all in sales if you think about it, but certainly architect, IT professional. And while you're doing that, let me just remind you that, and we'll see those results. This is beneficial actually for us because it just helps pivot things slightly. We see that maybe a preponderance of sales and business decision makers, very good. Maybe not as many in support, but that's a big one. Now, have you attended a Cloud Channel Connection webinar before? If you haven't, you're in for a treat. If you have, then you're familiar with the guests, the information, and the opportunities that are available to you. All right, well, about 50-50. So for those of you who haven't attended, the Cloud Channel Connection webinar series provides Microsoft channel partners opportunities with featured cloud services and provide in special solutions like infrastructure as a service, software as a service, or SaaS as I like to say, desktop as a service, platform as a service, and we discover and discuss market trends, cloud solutions, best practices, success stories, and then the current go-to-market offers for partners or reseller programs that use a pay-as-you-go model with recurring revenue stream opportunities. If you'd like to receive future invites to the Cloud Channel Connection webinar series, please sign up by downloading today's handout. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always contact us at cloudconnection@microsoft.com. All right, so a lot of data. Now, today's set of guests are going to be awesome. We're going to be joined by Brad Lundberg, who is the Solution Sales Manager from Microsoft Partner Hosting and Cloud Services, And then we also bring in a partner, actually. So we've got Bob Barnes, who's the VP of Product Marketing and Sales, and he's from our featured partner in this show, NextUC. So before we begin, we're going to roll some tape here in just a minute, and it'll be a brief 1-minute video that just kind of tees up the momentum that's going on, the highlights of how customers are demanding an always-on model for accessing information anywhere, anytime, which is just driving this tremendous growth for cloud services. So that'll be, in fact, my first question with Brad. So we go ahead and get started. Why don't we go ahead and roll tape? Wow, I mean, the music alone to that just gets me pumped. Well, I'd like to bring in Brad Lundberg. He's a Solution Specialist Manager from the Microsoft Partner Team. Brad, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Will. Thank you.
Certainly that video that we just saw gives us some sense of momentum, certainly some incredible growth expected in the cloud service market. Give us some details.
Well, absolutely. I think the overall growth trends are really amazing. As we saw, really a tripling of growth from 2011 to 2014, and again doubling to 2020 to $250 billion. So at a high level, incredible growth, global growth moving to the cloud.
$1 trillion here, pretty soon you're talking real money, right? What's driving those trends?
Well, if we take a look at some of the workloads that we see, here we've got pictured 8 different types of workloads. And if you look at the high growth areas, we can look at just focusing on 4 that we would kind of couch as unified communications workloads. So for example, voice, instant messaging that you see there, email, web conferencing. If we just take those 4, that is an opportunity that we're going to be talking to you about today, and very excited to have Bob come and talk about the cloud service that NextUC is here to talk about.
All right, so all up, I mean, we're seeing some growth. What is the current trend in unified communications?
You know, very interesting in terms of the trends that we're seeing. We kind of at Microsoft kind of talk to a consumerization of IT. And what we really mean by consumerization of IT is think about people wanting to bring their mobile devices that they use from home for personal use. Now they want to be able to do enterprise class business activities. You're seeing an explosion in terms of different form factors, tablets, whether it's iPad, Android, or Microsoft's new Surface. So, you know, now IT is being challenged. How do I bring all these different devices in, securely manage those, and do that in a way that I can get that out to SMBs? And so we're seeing very big trends in that area.
Well, what are some of those challenges? I'm thinking security, maybe compliance. How do you bring that down to SMB at that sort of ability level, but at the price point?
You know, excellent question. And I think, you know, one of the things that Microsoft has really hung their hat on as we are really good at delivering enterprise class solutions. What's really exciting, and I think an inflection point for these cloud services and the growth that we're seeing is that we've been able to package that all up and bring it down into an SMB delivery, and cloud services is helping us do that. But delivering that at an SMB price. And so I think this is what's really beginning to fuel this huge cloud growth, and something that is really exciting as a partner to participate in.
All right, so I mean, we say SMB, small to medium-sized business, kind of the obvious question. So why Lync? I mean, there's a lot of solutions out there. Why choose Microsoft?
Microsoft has taken a very interesting approach in terms of how we are looking at unified communications. And Microsoft is we develop software. So what we're taking is a very software-centric approach. And what that really allows us to do is to really make it simple and allow partners that are delivering cloud services like NextUC to really deliver some compelling solutions. So I think it's that flexibility and that ability to deliver on that promise.
All right. Well, I just want to open up to questions if there are any, and so far it looks like pretty quiet. But if we do get a question, we'd love to pose it to any of our presenters. And we've kind of burned through some of the questions that we had in mind. Is there something different that you want the audience to do today? I know you're giving us context, and then we'll go with Bob. But what are some of the takeaways?
I think some of the some of the takeaways, and what I didn't finish, I think that simplicity, piece that I wanted to really talk to real quickly, and that is, again, going back to the software piece, the client user experience from a software perspective. When we look at Lync and all of the different communication modalities, you could almost think of voices being one silo or communication modality, instant messaging being another, email being another one, and web conferencing being another one. And so the idea of software and Lync being able to bridge all of that with a very simple user interface is what Lync delivers, and what you'll see in some exciting cloud services, and what Bob will be able to come and talk to you about next. In closing, what I would say and highlight here is, we talked about all of those 4 different workloads being all handled in one opportunity for you as a partner today to really understand and listen to. And more importantly, taking advantage of all the trends that are out in the marketplace. For example, what we see here is being able to bring your own device into the business world and being able to extend that across all different types of devices that you use. And so these are some of the trends that are powering this move to the cloud, and something that I think you really should strongly consider, and we're really excited to talk to NextUC about how they've been able to do that.
All right. Well, with that, I tell you what, I'm not seeing any particular questions for it, so you're off the hook for a moment, and then we're going to bring you back, and we'll also keep you online. So if you do have those questions, do type them in. Why don't we switch up and go to a few polls, and that will help tee up our next guest, so don't go too far, and I appreciate your input, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, great. So we're going to tee it up with a poll, and I'd like to know, are you currently selling cloud services? Kind of a binary choice, but go ahead. Yeah, yes or no. And that gives us a sense of who the audience is. Good. And, who knew, right? I mean, that's good to see that a majority of you, in fact, are selling cloud services, and that syncs well with our topic today. For those of you who aren't, I think this is a great opportunity, so we'll kind of tee that up nicely. Now, for those of you who are, have you had the conversation in terms of unified communications, let's say in the last 90 days, realizing that we've just gotten through sort of that holiday season, just get a sense of, if you do get time to speak to the customers, are you mentioning unified communications? It sounds like most of you are. Again, it may be a little bit of a gimme for the audience, but that's good to hear. And for those 28% of you who aren't, again, that's good data points for us. So, all right, and then, so building on that even further, you didn't realize there'd be any math on this, did you? But all right, so how many of you are delivering a unified communication solutions to your customer now? So, okay, this is consistent with kind of how we thought it would be in this kind of a 50-50 shot here. If you are, that's great. Maybe there's some ways that we can offer some new ways to think about it. And if you aren't, then all right, here's some opportunities for you to kind of not leave money on the table, as it were. So, all right, that's great on the terms of the data. I appreciate you participating. And let's go to our next guest. I'd like to welcome Bob Barnes, and he is the VP of Product Marketing and Sales from NextUC, and he's working together with Microsoft to provide a meaningful unified communication solution. So Bob, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so give us some context. It's not just anybody that can come in here. How long has NextUC been providing Cloud Lync solutions?
So it's an interesting history. We've been working with Microsoft on the legacy approach to Lync back when it was LCS, and then when it was OCS and OCSR2, all being delivered from the cloud. And what we really wanted to do with Lync specifically is take Lync, put it in the cloud, make it something that was instantly enabled, instantly provisionable by clients, and also maybe not as technically oriented clients. So we really wanted to simplify the experience, make it something that could quickly, instantly be deployed for customers, and something that we could bring the cost level down and be more of like a product experience from the cloud that would be a great experience for the customer, be partner friendly, and something that we could get to a wider array of customers.
Anytime I hear simplify, my kind of red flags go up. So let me go into some details. For example, does NextUC bundle minutes with their service offerings?
Yeah, so we what we really tried to do is be a very customer-friendly approach. So we don't actually bundle minutes in, but we do work as the telecom provider. So all the minutes run through us, and we sell those back to the customer for 2 cents a minute for outbound calling to the local or long-distance calling, flat rate. We provide the toll-free inbound for conference calling. We bill that at 3.5 cents, so costs are very low. And really, it's more customer friendly in that they only pay for what they actually use. So we're not, creating bundles that make them pay for more than what they want. And the other benefit to the partner, frankly, is that they have an opportunity to get compensated for usage, which is a great change for partners.
Well, so speaking of partners, does NextUC sell Office 365 as a part of their service offerings? Or if not, can they integrate?
We actually don't, and we did that very intentionally. We don't do the Office 365 resale portion, and what we really want to do is find partners that do resell Office 365 or perhaps have other skill sets that lend themselves to taking ownership of the customer experience. So what we do is integrate or offer a way for the customer to have an integrated experience with Office 365 and Exchange unified messaging specifically, so that you can get all of the presence management, present experience across all the applications. You actually have the full unified messaging with auto attendance, voice to text, all of the way it's supposed to be working with Exchange inherently. In a really clean solution for the customer. And then again, we want the partner to really take the ownership of the integration and the overall customer experience.
All right, well, let me go to the audience just for a moment, and I think that'll sort of answer some of the questions that we had in mind. This comes from our guest. Our business is looking for ways to seamlessly add telephony features that are simple to implement and that would take advantage of the Office 365 UC. There are several options to install Lync on premises and create a bridge between premises and cloud. But the majority of my sales are to drive, wow, this is long, sorry. Stay with me. The majority of my sales are to drive folks to the cloud in all areas so that we only need to be concerned with bandwidth. Any comment there?
Yeah, so obviously you hit on the last part, which is really critical, the bandwidth experience. That needs to be strong. And obviously we have the same approach to the solution, which is we believe as much that can be consumed from the cloud is better for the customer, much faster deployment, easier migrations, upgrades, and we think, frankly, a better experience given what Brad spoke about earlier, which is this trend toward communications wherever you are on whatever device it is. Cloud is a much simpler solution to that problem than a premise-based solution. And so we do, as it is today, we have our integration with the Office 365 cloud, and we are working toward integrations with premise-based Exchange and other options in the future.
All right, well, we actually have some slide on that. Let me just go to the second question, then we'll jump back in. How resilient is Lync voice over a user's internet connection? The interface looks simple, but the connectivity to the cloud isn't always great. How resilient can Lync be with that connectivity?
It's actually pretty amazing how strong that the product lends itself to different types of bandwidth challenges. I'll put it that way. We've used other products from other vendors in the past in our team's historic approach to this. And I can say that Lync and the experience of the customer delivers, or experiences on, whether they're working at home or the office on a nice connection or perhaps even a coffee shop, is dramatically better and more flexible, and it really provides a really great user experience and a wide variety of connectivity experiences.
All right. Well, let me go for one more from Ala, and then we'll switch back. But can you please talk about the onboarding customer scenario? How do you onboard SMS customers?
So with the onboarding experience, we really focused a tremendous amount of our early development on making that experience seamless, fast, and really simple. So you can go from first experience on the website to fully up and running with telephone numbers, in and outbound calling, working audio bridges, the whole 9 yards of the Lync experience in about 10 minutes for a business. And so we've really taken a lot of the complexity around server integration, implementation, all the turn up, and even bringing in the PSTN partners, all that, made that just disappear for the customer. So they hit one portal, they can implement, add users, and be fully up and running, even with Office 365 integration experiences, in really a very limited time with very limited amount of work.
Well, tell me more about the average NextUC customer profile.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So there's always a tendency to try to stick customers into verticals. We say law firms or construction or whatever it may be. What we really try to do is look at it more around workloads within an office environment. Knowledge worker heavy. So the more knowledge workers you have, the better experience you're going to have with a collaborative tool like Lync. If you have multiple locations or workforces that are on the move or working from home and need to collaborate together, we really believe Lync lends itself well to that. And in fact, we think NextUC specifically lends itself really well to that, because you're able to provision telephone numbers across the country in specific geographies instantaneously, so you can bring either small groups of users or individual users up that are all in the same product experience. You can think about specific verticals that would tend to fit that demographic profile, and that would be legal or technology, whether it's software or hardware, even logistics companies, those types of companies. But I'm a little hesitant to say these are the verticals we're going after. It's more of a demographic approach.
Sure, you don't want to limit yourself. Well, tell me more about the audio integration. How does that work in your service offering?
What we do is we actually bring all of the telephony components, all the PSTN, into our data center. And so whether you're talking about toll-free inbound or the outbound calling or inbound calling to and from the Lync clients, all that goes into our data center, and then we deliver that across the internet to our clients, wherever they are, across the world, in their office or at home or in a coffee shop again. And so the benefit to the partner and to the customer is that it really is a unified experience. You come to us, everything just works, it's taken care of, and it's really simple and fast. And so we put it all together and make it a really consumable product and experience for the customer.
All right, and that tees up a question from Lon, who would, could you comment on the competition selling VoIP for, say, a flat rate per user per month? He's gotten some pushback from a couple of prospects who are concerned about paying for the minutes, and you talked more about pay what you use only, but maybe some comment there.
So we definitely are, I guess, swimming against the trend there, which is that the overall trend is much toward a bundled minute perspective, and frankly, our group and team were some very early innovators in this whole hosted kind of unified communications or VoIP world, and we started with this whole bundled concept. But the reality is, through literally 13 years of delivering voice services from the cloud, the average business user uses about 200 to 250 minutes of outbound calling per month. And when you look at the way that these pre-bundled packages work, is that these providers are bundling in 500 or 1,000 minutes or unlimited minutes, but the cost really is being bared by the customer. And so what we really try to do is say, how can we be most customer friendly? And the way we thought we could do this most really with that customer-centric approach is make the cost per minute very low, and make them only pay for what they're actually using. So while it doesn't fit quite as seamlessly as an all-you-can-eat package, we think it's actually more cost-effective for the customer.
All right, so there's some data behind that 13 years of experience. That totally makes sense. All right, question from Jared, and we may open this up to Brad as well. I see 2010 products listed. When is Lync 2013 going to be available? in the NextUC Cloud offering?
So we're actually very close to rolling that out, and so a bit of that is dependent on Microsoft's release schedule, and so Brad can definitely comment and give some clarity on that. But we're fully testing that and anticipate rolling that out in the next couple of months here. So we're really excited. It's a great product experience, and frankly, for our customers, it's going to be great because they literally log in. 1 minute it's going to be 2010, and the next minute it's going to be 2013. And that whole experience is going to be seamless for our customers, and it's not going to cost any migration piece. But of course, for all the partners out there who are cloud friendly, that's kind of part of that experience.
All right. Yeah. Anything to add? Yeah.
Well, no, I think what Bob said is right on, and I think the power of the cloud services is you'll be able to see these types of quick migrations from 2010 to 2013 that you can't normally get afforded as an on-premise kind of deployment. So, yeah, it's exciting to see how we can move very quickly from one version to the next.
All right. Well, I've got some questions that involve some acronyms, so we have a very smart audience. Let me just come down to, and I even know some of these, so I feel pretty good. All right. So Lee asks, let me just scroll down to it. What if I already have a SIP DID provider and outbound provider? Any comment there?
So NextUC provides porting services, and that's fairly typical for telecom providers. But the way it typically works is that NextUC offers a 60-day free trial for customers, so they can come on and fully use the production environment, outbound calling, inbound calling. We give them a telephone number that is typically a transitional or temporary telephone number. When they feel comfortable with the product, they can actually port their existing telephone number over to us. And that becomes the primary telephone number. So it's a fairly simple process for customers. We automate that. We give them updates on the process and the progress of the overall port experience. And in fact, both numbers are actually live and working in the client at the same time. So when the number ports over, it's a totally seamless transition. And again, very simple, and I think leveraging a lot of our experience to make that experience very, very easy and something that hopefully clients see a lot of value in as they migrate over.
All right, just to take it back a click, does enhanced presence work with an on-premises based Lync solution?
Yeah, so what's great about Lync is that it leverages some industry standard protocols to enable presence to work across clouds. And so as long as we use Open Federation, so as long as the premise-based solution or the other cloud provider uses Open Federation as well or federates with us directly, you get the enhanced presence across the applications, whether it's Excel or Outlook or whatever it may be, but also obviously to and from the different cloud providers or premise-based providers. And it even works with non-Microsoft technologies as long as we're using the Open Federation kind of protocols. And so it's a really great experience, and we do that intentionally, obviously, the Open Federation, because we believe that's really the trend in business, is much more of a collaborative way of working. And if you have your partners and even customers on and able to communicate with you more effectively, it really breaks down the corporate walls and makes it much more of a productive environment for businesses.
All right, well, I'm getting a number of kind of tactical questions coming in, but let me just take another step back and say, does NextUC provide partner training? Right? I mean, is there? Yeah.
Well, we think it's actually a very critical part of success. So we offer weekly or bi-weekly training courses, and they cover everything from the go-to-market experiences and how we believe it's best, trying to pass on our experiences and learnings to give a best practices approach, and then we extend that into the onboarding experiences, integrations with Office 365, support. Different ways to try to empower the partners to retain that customer ownership, provide more value to the customer, and obviously help, I hope, uncover more revenue opportunities with the customer.
And then do you have any demos available, or kind of some, when you need it, you can look at it type of thing, as well as the weekly trainings?
Yeah, so we've done a fair amount of demo development, and all those videos are actually on YouTube, and so we have a YouTube channel, and you can search there under. Well, there's a great slide here, but you can search there. Yeah, exactly. Great timing. You can actually search there in YouTube under NextUC, and you'll get to the channel, and we have a number of videos, and that covers a lot from the initial customer experiences and value prop to the customer through the actual experiences that the users will have doing different things, whether it's audio conferencing, web conferencing, chat presence, calling, So it's kind of a combination of training as well as positioning and kind of value communication tools that are there in the videos.
All right, well, we have a number of questions I'm going to dig in. One quick one here. Can partners rebrand NextUC's product experience?
So the short answer, I guess, to some partners is unfortunately no. And what we've tried to do is make sure that we provide a very good experience for the customer and position NextUC as a cloud product experience. We don't want to get into owning the customer relationship. And so what we try to do is look at like a product being delivered from the cloud, enable the partners to own the customer relationship, retain the customer relationship, provide more value to the customer, and then also obviously compensate the partners as part of that relationship. And so we haven't and we don't provide branding opportunities, but we do that intentionally, and we think that the right partners who are perhaps Office 365 resellers and can get revenue from Office 365 or are doing training or implementation services for the customer on premise can look at us as a way of building a recurring revenue stream associated to voice services that they perhaps haven't had an opportunity to really develop in the past.
All right. Well, I've got a question from I think I'm pronouncing it CADS. She asks, or he asks, sorry, have you have voice as a service, but what about video and video conferencing?
So Lync has a great experience there. The product itself on the video conferencing and web conferencing is very strong. And so we offer that as part of our service to the customers. You can obviously internally, whether you're doing it from a NextUC user to a NextUC user, it works great. But obviously the goal is to be able to break down the corporate walls and extend beyond that. And so Lync itself and what NextUC provides as part of our service is video and web conferencing that extends and allows external participants to join, whether it's via PSTN and toll-free audio inbound, or if you want to use a Lync client and join in that way, that's fine as well. And obviously if you do the Lync client, there's no additional cost for calling or anything like that. But a wide variety of solutions there and a really, really powerful user experience.
All right, so you've got some range of options.
Yes.
So let me dive into something very specific. Chris asks, we have a large number of Polycom CX600 Lync phones. My understanding is that the contact list and schedule integration features of this handset will not work when your Lync and Exchange servers use different domain credentials. Are you aware of this? And if so, any impending fixes? And I'll open it up to Brad as well.
So I'll answer this. The question is correct. We as NextUC, one of our differentiators is allowing customers to use the Ethernet-based phones and not just having to use the USB phones. So we do offer a very, I guess, more of a business-centric approach in that you can have Polycom phones on conference room tables or kitchen phones perhaps that aren't really tied to a desktop laptop. The downside is some of the detailed functionality in those devices doesn't work for specifically the reasons that he was outlining. But it's nonetheless, I think when you look at it from a usability standpoint, you have the desktop phone, but many times you have your tablet or your PC or your iPhone phone, whatever it may be, with you, and you have access to that information a number of different ways. But he is correct, definitely, from my perspective on the detail there.
All right, so let's see, a few more questions coming in. Wow, some great questions. How you doing? Okay. You want a drink of water or anything? Brad, you're just enjoying yourself over there. You're not having to do any hard work. No, I'm kidding, of course. But all right, so does NextUC provide the hardware on premises to handle communications to a hosted PBX sort of solution? I've been selling another hosted PBX solution, not really happy with the level of support nor the reliability of the hardware they implement. I would like to take advantage of the Cisco firewall router configuration to provide the proper VLAN configuration to support the internal LAN traffic as well as the QoS requirements of the Internet Edge to the hosted PBX provider, provided that this is something that NextUC supports. Comments there?
So it's interesting. A lot of what was said in that question makes me think that the vendor that they're used to using is approaching this much more of a historical or is approaching the challenge from a much more historical, let's say, legacy approach. Lync is far easier to deal with in a LAN and a whole networking perspective, in that the client itself really drives the communication for voice. And so getting into multi-VLAN and even a lot of the queuing and pieces that you had to deal with, say with a Cisco solution in the past, really isn't necessary, or if it is, you do it very differently than you did in the past. And so, I think the opportunities are still there to provide a lot of value from a LAN and a network management perspective, but the approach is very different. And we do, part of our training is around how can you really maximize the experience for the customer from a network configuration perspective. And so, we'd love to have an offline discussion with any of the partners who are interested in understanding how we approach that challenge for customers.
Certainly some rapid change that you brought up, Brad, just in terms of how things are changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a little bit about the legacy kind of situations with like Polycom, great partner. But what we're seeing is for new customers getting into this, the ecosystem in terms of devices, and very much what Bob was talking about with the network, great opportunity as a partner to come in and really add value in terms of building out a hosted Lync service with NextUC. So lots of other opportunities as a partner that you can build on in terms of a services practice.
All right, we'll dive back into the questions. This is from Seth. If I have an E1 or E3 and want to use your service for Lync with persistent chat and dial pad only, how would that work?
Okay, so so the E1, E3, and I think most of the partners out there realize this, but this is all the Office 365 components. And so we focus on specific solutions on the Exchange side with two packages, which is Exchange Plan 2 or the E3 plan. And the E3 plan includes Lync and SharePoint and Exchange, all kind of wrapped into a package. And so we do the Exchange integration with that solution. So the customer would buy the E3 plan and then buy NextUC, and we do the integration. And so all of the user experience is completely seamless. You have the presence and the meetings and emails and all of that in SharePoint. And then the Lync and the voice services are provided by NextUC. And likewise, if the customer wanted to buy, just wanted to have the Exchange experience along with Lync, they would buy the E2 plan, or the Exchange Plan 2, excuse me, and NextUC, and all of that, again, would be fully integrated, fantastic user experience. And again, all of the presence and all the usability and functionality that Microsoft has designed in those packages all work seamlessly for the customer.
Well, just to add on to that, and maybe you said it, but this doesn't or does work with Office 365 P1 plan.
So the way we've designed NextUC is that it can be turned up with any type of an Exchange or any type of an email environment that you have, and that can be the P1 or P2 plans. It can be, frankly, Hotmail or Gmail or something like that if you wanted to do that. Now you're going to lose some of the functionality around presence and a lot of the details that make Lync really the powerful tool it is, but you do get instantaneous on with a great corporate voice system. You have all of your web conferencing, chat, and those pieces, but some of the details that really make Lync a fantastic product are lost, and that's not a NextUC issue. What that really is that you don't have the Exchange components built into that solution that NextUC can plug into and really deliver a holistic experience on. So, summing up, we can get you on and working, and it's a great experience when compared to other VoIP providers, but you aren't getting the high-end, detailed experience that you can when you have Exchange with unified messaging.
Right. Well, all right, we got a few more like that, and I don't know, we almost want to get you some water.
Yeah.
So, and this I'll also pose to Brad as well. Will Lync Chat be available in the OA or interface in the NextUC and Office 365 mailbox scenario, or on premises also?
You want to?
No, I'll let you. You're on a roll.
Okay. Yeah.
I can repeat the question if you want.
So OA being Outlook Web Access, it is not there today, and so. And frankly, I'm not sure on the 2013 experience if chat is going to be available when we initially launch there in the OA experience. So, I'm going to have to take that offline, and perhaps I can send that out to the appropriate
powers that be.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I think we're not quite ready to kind of release that information, but it is shortly behind. We will be able to get that out in short order.
The question is spot on, but all right, we'll hold it then. And then, why is Lync? This is from Nick. Why is Lync Voice not available under the mobile phone devices?
So Lync Voice, and there's a couple ways to take this question. There are a few different clients that are out there for mobile solutions for Lync. The Microsoft supported solution doesn't allow you to use Wi-Fi or IP for communication from the Lync client out to the world. There are third-party solutions that you can buy that actually make your mobile device, whether it's a tablet or a phone, use Wi-Fi, and you can actually have and send and receive calls or join conference calls and actually have the same experience as you would if you were using your desktop client. So great experience there, and there's some options that are available, and we frankly support either approach. The Microsoft client is, I'd say, a much more polished approach. It allows you to do things that the other clients don't, but one of the downsides is that you can't do the IP connection and really leverage it as a true Lync phone. But it does allow you to do things like masking the outbound call from your mobile phone as though it's coming from your desk phone, which is I think kind of one of the primary user kind of functions that people are looking for.
All right. Well, so from Marcus, is a question kind of taking it back. What is your sales strategy? Is it direct or is it channel driven? You kind of teed it up in the beginning, but give us a little more.
So we do both, and what we tried to do is make we really took a customer-centric approach to everything we're doing, and so we didn't want to create channel conflict and the customers could come to us and get a cheaper price or go to the partner and get a cheaper price. We post and publish pricing on the website, and that's what we sell our product for. We don't negotiate, we don't do separate one-offs, and what we allow the partners to do is get compensated for selling. It's going to be at the same price that we go to market with. The partners, though, provide a whole set of value around it that we don't. We don't have salespeople out in the field. We don't have service people that show up. We don't do desktop support. We don't do any of the LAN or WAN management. We don't do any of these types of things that I think the customers are looking for from the partners who really want to own the relationships. And so, again, what we wanted to do is be the product that the partners could leverage to provide value to the customer. Keep it a very transparent, customer-centric relationship that the customers are going to love and appreciate the quality of the service, the pricing, the transparency on every part of the relationship. And also, if it doesn't work for them, there's no contracts. They can leave anytime they want to, and when they leave, the billing stops. So we try to earn the customer's trust and the partner's trust every single day, as opposed to, I think, more the traditional telecom approach, which is lock them into a contract, prevent them from moving, and then try to get you provide as little service or as much revenue as you can. That just isn't our approach.
All right, so it's kind of abstract away let partners focus on what they do best, and you do what you do best.
Exactly.
All right, so quick one, and you just mentioned this on pricing. So nothing special for EDU customers in terms of better pricing? We
actually don't. It's all the same pricing, and even if some scenarios come up where customers have already spent money on Lync and things like that, we can't roll price or Lync licenses over. We don't have any EDU packages. It's the pricing is what it is. But I would suggest that if a customer fits the profile of the customer we're looking for, which is mobile, collaborative, a knowledge worker centric. They're going to be using things like web conferencing from other providers. They're going to have a mix of local long-distance toll-free and an outbound. They're going to have a PBX or a hosted PBX. And when you put that all on the table, whether they're an EDU or not an EDU or whatever they may be, the value prop from a cost perspective or cost and value provided perspective is really outstanding. And I'd be willing to put us up against any of the other options that are out there.
All right, and then something here, yes?
Yeah, and I think one thing that that really affords itself is flexibility. So, for example, with the NextUC offer or any of those offers out in the marketplace, you can mix and match the packages. So, from a pricing perspective, if you're an EDU customer, you may have some people only on IM and Presence, some that might want to have web conferencing. For those portions of people that want that, and then some portions of the people that might want the full voice experience. So you can customize and get a price point and solution that just for what the customer needs.
Yeah, great point.
It almost sounds like too much choice. I mean, and it's good to have a partner to kind of guide you through that. For example, Mike asks, can you do a hybrid scenario of Office 365 mailboxes and on-premises mailboxes when it comes to integration features like voicemail, conversation history, etc.?
So that's actually more of an Exchange question, and the answer is it depends on what version of Exchange you have, and then there's a whole concept around split domain as far as Lync goes, and also with Exchange and how that's configured. So there's no easy answer. I wish I could give you a yes or no on that, but the answer is it depends. It depends on what Exchange version, how it's set up. It depends on Lync and whether how that's set up. And so the answer is maybe.
Okay, I'll take that. And then let's see, several coming in, and keep them coming, guys. This is great, right? You didn't think you'd be signing up for this, but
this is great though. It definitely makes it more productive.
Exchange. Well, so just back to the from Seth again. So do I need to buy an E3 and then pay for NextUC?
So I think where the question here is really pointed is that the E3 plan includes Lync. And so if they want SharePoint, which is kind of the swing piece, if they want SharePoint, the most effective way of doing that is buying the E3 plan. And then yes, you're going to be double paying for Lync. But again, I think the overall question is, given the other opportunities in the market, what's the most cost-effective way to give a great experience to the customer? If they're paying for WebEx or GoToMeeting, and they're paying some audio conferencing provider, and they're doing all this other spend, even with the E3 plan and with NextUC's bill, they're going to be getting a much more integrated package, much better experience at a lower price overall. So and this is where I think partners can also provide a great value, is that if you they can get in and explain a lot of the details around this to customers one-on-one. We don't have the salespeople out there competing with them. Mm-hmm. So this is where we'd love to have the offline conversation, train them up a little bit, and allow them to go and engage with the customer, own that customer relationship, and provide the value to the customer in the sales engagement. But we've got a great story, so we'd love the opportunity to talk to customers about it.
Well, this is kind of a larger question from Bill earlier on. Hey, I'm still not sure I understand how interconnection to Lync works. Can you explain that any further?
So interconnection typically means PSTN, telephony. So I'm hoping that's where the question's going.
That kind of was. It was back a few minutes ago. Okay. We'll start with that, and then Bill can correct us. But
so I'm going to take it from a client-centric perspective. They want Lync to be able to take telephone calls, place telephone calls, allow people to make audio integrations with meetings. And so from the client's perspective, they sign up with NextUC, and all of that is just taken care of for them. We manage the telephone providers. We manage the porting of telephone numbers. We provide in- and outbound calling. We make that experience transparent. We make it a single source for the customer. And the partners get compensated on the usage. So it's really a clean story from the client's perspective.
All right, let me ask a few more questions. I want to be careful of total time. We're going to stop at the top of the hour. We do have a winner in our contest, so we'll stick around for that. You may already be a winner. What about the billing? Does that go directly to the customer or through the partner? From Mike.
Okay, so the billing typically goes directly to the customer. Now, we do have partners who are taking the bills on behalf of the customer. They're consolidating them with other services that they're perhaps selling to the customer, and then providing the customer with one bill. But the way we're built or set up is that we do credit card transactions, and so we'll bill whatever credit card that is, and we can send the bill or email the bill to the appropriate person. Now that may be the partner, and the partner can kind of repackage everything and make it a single source bill to the customer. But we don't have the I guess the fundamental structure to have a two-tiered billing system. We're sending out a fully formed bill to whoever signed up, and what happens beyond that is a little bit out of our control.
All right. Well, keep it going here. This is a different Nick. Who knew we'd have more than one Nick on the call? What about licenses which customers already spent for local Lync? If they want to integrate to NextUC, can they use them, or will the licenses be just lost? This was kind of back earlier.
Yeah, so there's no license rollover in what's called SPLA with Microsoft. So we can't take the premise-based licenses and roll them over and then lower the cost on a monthly basis. But again, I think that's a level too deep when you're talking to customers. And really the question is around, what are you spending today for local in- and outbound calling and your PBX and all the vendors that go along with that challenge, and then your conferencing and the PSTN providers for that, and how does that all work, and how much are you spending to make that work? And regardless of whether the license is included or excluded and rolled over or not, we have a great value prop that can displace all of that current experience for customers with a much better solution at a much cheaper cost. So whether the license rolls over or not, I'm not sure is really relevant when you talk to the customer.
All right, and for you, Brad, what would you add?
Yeah, no, I think for most SMBs, we don't see a whole lot of that in play. However, if you go a little slightly larger, medium enterprise customers, Microsoft does have a program, License Mobility, but that's primarily for somebody that has purchase servers and their appropriate client access licenses, and they would come to a provider who offers SPLA, so a partner that would offer SPLA, could do that. But that's more for private cloud or dedicated kind of infrastructures, not what we're talking about here with a cloud service from NextUC today.
All right. Well, we had a slide earlier, and this came from a question earlier from the other Nick. What about that target market of 5 to 250? How does this solution fit for independent reps who have an office and are very mobile?
So the solution is really great if you are a small office or an independent person, or even a group within a larger organization that wants all the features and functionality that Lync can provide, wants to be able to make a decision independent of IT. And so what we enable non-technical leaders to say, hey, I want this for myself or my team. You can implement it, you can expense it. It's a low enough cost where you can put it on an expense report, and most finance departments will just stamp that on through. And it can be up and running and serviceable by a non-technical person very easily. So I think we have a great approach there for, again, that home user or that small office that wants to upgrade their experience, perhaps be able to be more collaborative with their customers, whether it's a prospect or an existing customer, and leverage the great Microsoft solution that's available.
All right. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour. I understand we do have a winner, and so I'm interested to know who that might be. And while they're kind of queuing that up, quick one from Vicki, and then we'll kind of wrap up. Is for inbound, outbound calling, are you paying for a line per device or per person?
So you effectively pay for a person, and then when that person makes an outbound telephone call to anyone who's not a NextUC customer or someone who's not a Lync, using Lync with Federation, so just you're calling someone's house or their business with their traditional telephone, we charge you the 2 cents a minute for that call. If they call you directly, there's no charge. And if they call on the inbound toll-free to join a web conference or an audio conference, we charge that at 3.5 cents a minute. But if they join with Lync and there are a number of options to do that, there's no charge for that attendance either. So, we're not trying to gouge or trick the customer in any way. Very transparent and clean.
Okay, so a wide range of questions, right? From me as a trainer perspective, what are the blockers? Is it technical knowledge? Is it too much noise? Is it legacy versions of Exchange or other? What are the things that are kind of keeping you up at night from getting more business?
What I really think it is awareness, so that the bulk of the market out there is sitting on these legacy systems that are being, under-delivering for services, over-costing to the customer, but the customers aren't aware of what the options are that are available. And so there's a massive opportunity out there for partners, obviously for NextUC, for Microsoft, to convert these guys to a much better solution, lower cost, lower expense, and really make them more productive. And well, the best part is that all these are checkboxes in our favor. So that's what keeps me up at night is how do we just make people more aware that this option is available.
That's got to be similar for you, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's for partners, it's a wonderful selling opportunity. And I think the awareness thing, one of the things that we've seen is, as a company, Microsoft, over 90,000 of our employees, went to Lync almost overnight. And I think if you asked any one of those employees, could you do without? Absolutely not. And what we've seen with, Bob's program, he has a wonderful trial experience. Eat your own dog food. Get in, evangelize it. It's an easy sale, but we need to create awareness. We need partners to be able to go out there and solution that with our customers.
Well, I remember from my own experience, if I moved offices, there was a charge, a $300 charge to move the telephone to the other thing, and now we don't have it anymore. All right, quick one from Eric about actually fax services. For example, medical fax usage, is it still very heavy? What about faxing?
Yeah, so great question, and I wish I had a fantastic answer for it. The fact of the matter is we haven't focused on fax as a service for our customers, and primarily because it is, it's a technology that's not growing, right? So it's not a massive grower. In fact, it's shrinking pretty significantly year after year. And so we depend on other providers to solve the fax solution for customers, whether it's RightFax or eFax or any of the providers or options that are out there. We don't actually provide a fax solution for our customers.
All right. And then, okay, last question, then we'll wrap up. Does this offering support multi-tenant Exchange 2013? It
does, yeah. Okay. So we obviously are focused on Office 365 and a lot of this discussion, and with our current customers, we're working on premise-based Exchange solutions as we move forward. We don't have them available today, but in the near term they will be. Whether it's 2013 or 2010 on the exchange side, we've got some great options coming up.
All right. Well, to make you sleep better at night, how are you kind of taking it to the people in terms of providing that awareness? I understand perhaps you even have an offer out there for channel partners now.
We do. So 60 days free service for our channel partners. And then once you convert to paying, we give you a $50 credit that can be applied to the first month's bill. And again, I think that overall we can lower your costs, give you a great experience, and really to Brad's point, provide you a platform that helps you evangelize the need for change with the customers, which I think is the primary need for all of us, right? Is we need to find customers who are excited about the opportunities that are out there, lowering costs, better productivity, better experience. And so that's a goal. I think it's a good program.
Any closing thoughts from you, Brad?
No, I just think it's an exciting time for unified communications, an inflection point. We saw the growth with the cloud, and now we want to just go out and find sellers that can come out and really take advantage of that and find customers.
I mean, is it really a sense of is there money on the table that's not being had kind of thing? Is that really it?
Absolutely. And I think once people really drink the Kool-Aid, they really see the benefits and the power of what UC can deliver from Lync and partners from Microsoft, it's a great opportunity.
All right. Well, it feels like kind of the end of the beginning, in the sense of it started and now it's up to us to sort of deliver that. Well, I'd like to go to our final slides here. This is how you can reach out and contact NextUC. Certainly you can type in your questions here. They've got a number of ways that you can connect with them. I'm ready for my winner, guys, in the background. I know we have a winner, and I think we're kind of wrapped up from a question standpoint. Oh, there it is. Eric, you lucky person. Eric Caffrey. You've won all of these things. You can wear that Bing fleece jacket with pride, as well as your Nike messenger bag and your golf travel kit and towel. So I'd like to thank you all for joining today. We do have one more question for you as we wrap up. But on behalf of the team here behind the screen, as well as everyone who delivers the Cloud Channel Connection webinar series, please reach out to us at cloudconnection@microsoft.com. You will have a short survey that we'll fill out there that we'd love to get your feedback on. And Bob, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. I think you can take the rest of the job.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Brad, thanks also to you. I think it's a good context and setup. I'd love to see more activity on this.
Thanks, Will.
Good.
All right. Well, we've got the survey loaded. We've got our information from you. We'd love to see you back at a future Cloud Connection seminar. Please join us, and thanks so much for taking time to join us today.